You always start the mask. Everyone was kind of there.
Oh,
Okay.
I mean, I know it's your call, but maybe we should wait till 1:30.
yeah.
Okay. So first of all, I want to thank everyone for being here at this meeting. There's an open meetings against the wall there in case anyone wants to look. There were a few changes, I think, that have just been made to the open meetings and directives. And we're going to talk about non-mandated services and kind of have it more of us listening. And I'll let everyone introduce themselves. We got Commissioner Kavanaugh, Commissioner Friend, Commissioner Borgeson, Patrick Bloomingdale, not a commissioner, but
Not yet.
more powerful than any commissioner. So with that, I'll turn it over to you and we'll try to limit the time
Yep.
to 10 to 15 minutes of talking and then some questions when you finish from the board.
Thanks, PJ. So, yeah, my name is Mike Friend. I am on the county board as well, and PJ introduced the commissioners. The original thought process behind this is pretty simple. There are a lot of services that the county provides. I've been on this board for 5 years, and there are some things that and some of you and others that are out there have provided me a knowledge or information or educational, pieces that make me kind of dangerous now in dealing with some of these things. But we wanted you, and we might do this every year, we wanted you to come in and speak to the value add and the processes you provide, the people that you represent and the people that you serve. And then open to the public. But look, we don't have much time. What I wanted to do is take for each of the entities, maybe 10 to 15 minutes to try to go through as much as you possibly can. Then what we're going to do is we're going to open it up for questions. And please, this is not I'm good at filibustering and I'm not going to do that. Take about 2 minutes, ask the question, put it in front of the folks that are here to provide the information, and let's go from there, okay? So now one thing we are going to do, I want to start with the Douglas County Law Library, because Judge, yeah, I know you've got a weird schedule and I don't want to make you angry. So I think we start, unless I haven't missed anything, I think we start with the Douglas County Law Library and the district court.
And I want to mention Lori Persh is here, our finance director. And next to her is Yanni, she keeps great records.
Judge, you're welcome to come up here or do it from right there. It's up to you.
Commissioners, do you want
We do have a sign-in list too. If somebody's here and they we'd sure like you to sign in.
Yes.
Commissioner Fahey, I see is on Zoom.
Sure, you can start it right now.
I don't know if the judge wanted to speak first.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know me, I'm Shelley Stratman. I've been a district court judge for the last 13 years. And I can tell you that the law library has morphed into something much more than a law library in my time as a district court judge. It's not just a place that has the periodicals and the case law. It's now turned into very much so a self-help desk. And the majority of the people that are helped at our law library / self-help desk are people who can't afford to hire an attorney, or it's a minor matter and they don't want to have that expense of an attorney. And so our court admin has, in the last couple of years, with changes that have happened without getting into detail, we have become much more of the self-help go-to for district court. And being a judge, having self-represented litigants have direction and instructions and packets that are available to them to help them navigate through a divorce or paternity. It's so instrumental in not just completely stopping the wheel of justice when it comes to helping these litigants out so that they can have their day in court. So I just kudos to Sherry and the people that work in our court admin office, because they've really stepped up in the last couple of years and taken on some responsibilities that were dropped in other areas. And so again, it serves a much more, a particular population more so than all of Douglas County. And those are the people that need it the most. So. Thank you.
I
Okay,
have a
and-
presentation I put together and I'm happy to go over that, but the judge's time, she has other commitments, so.
Can we, any quick questions for Judge Stratman before she has to
Very
leave? Commissioner Kavanaugh.
Thank you. Judge, I just wanted to say thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule and for the information that you and the court have provided for us. We appreciate the dialogue that we have back and forth. This is a collaborative effort. And I, for one, as a lawyer, appreciate what the law library does. And so thanks for being here and thanks for having the information that we need to go forward.
Anyone else for the judge? before we- Oh. Go ahead, Mr. Kagan.
Yeah, Judge, couldn't legal aid serve some of the services you just mentioned?
So what I can tell you about legal aid is they are swamped, and I have lots of self-represented litigants that come in and talk to my bailiff, and she'll say, well, you should contact legal aid. Well, I have. And I've left messages, or I've done this, or I've done that. And there's a lot of information and packets that can be made available more expeditiously by the law library / self-help desk than if they waited for the Creighton Legal Clinic or to help them out, because some of this is not, it's not rocket science. It's not like a significant legal matter that needs a lot of research or writing or anything like that. It's, I want to get divorced. We don't have any kids. I don't have the money. I want to get remarried because I've been married for 14 years and haven't been with my spouse for 12 of those 14 years, but now I've met somebody that I want to marry, and I can't marry this person until 6 months past the date I get divorced. So, and we have a lot of situations like that where it doesn't really make a lot of sense to go wait for legal aid to have the ability to be able to represent them. And so there are certain things, small claims, paternity, things that could move along a lot quicker than what legal aid would be able to provide.
I don't see any others, Judge.
I
Thank you.
really appreciate you being here, because in my 12, 14 years, I hadn't heard anyone talk about the law library hardly. And it was really refreshing to hear you talk about the importance of that
It's
and
very
the use of it for citizens. And the question he asked was a good one, and you answered it well. So I thank you.
And we're always actively looking for ways to cut the costs. So there's a lot of physical books that are in the law library that it doesn't make sense to keep up on refreshing those. And so those can go away. And so my dream of our self-help desk law library is that we can cut some of those expenses. So we might actually have 2 people who can assist the public. Because when you see Sherry's numbers, it was even shocking to me how many people we help through the law library. But to have 2 people who can sit down and assist people who don't have the internet, who don't have a computer, who don't feel comfortable printing off these forms to fill out themselves. And so we cut those expenses so we have more people available to help them to navigate on a laptop, have stations where they can actually get those things done and be able to come to the courthouse, get what they need, and walk up and file it.
Can we see Kim if anyone has questions that's on there? I didn't know if anyone wanted to.
Anyone on Zoom have any questions for the judge before she has to leave? I don't see any.
Okay.
I can go over a quick presentation
Okay.
if the judge is able to stay and they should, if questions come up. I'm kind of lackluster at this. After you've heard from Judge Stratman, this will seem very bland. But just as a history of the law library, it was approved by resolution by the county board in 1911. So the library has been around over 100 years. Oh, now we're going too far. Okay, so there is a statute that says the county board may provide a suitable law library if they want to. And that's what they did. It was dedicated in 2011 with the 100-year anniversary, and that's when it was named the Honorable Michael W. Amdorf Memorial Law Library. As the judge mentioned, where the library used to be a real bustling place for lawyers to check out or look at materials and periodicals, we really have evolved over the years to an Access for Justice Center and helping the self-represented litigants, SRLs, I might say that later in the presentation, but that's who we see. There are still attorneys that come in once in a while, but the majority of our patrons are people representing themselves. And then we've been in a lot of different places in the courthouse, and currently we are in the connector space between the courthouse and in the Civic Center. Our current fiscal year budget is $75,000. That's about half of what it was 10 years ago. So we have seen a decrease in the library budget. A lot of that is, the majority of that money is for periodicals. We run it through the law library, but most of it's for the judges and for the courtrooms. And then we do have small maintenance fee for our copy machine that gets used a lot. I'll talk about that in a little bit. We have one full-time employee. Library revenue right now, as of July 1st to September, we've brought in $5,526. Last year it was almost $14,000 in revenue. And most of that is just copy fees. We have a new employee that started in June, and she has been tracking our patronage a lot better than we've ever done before. So in the third quarter of 2025, which was the first quarter of the budget year, we've had 1,500 patrons visit the library, either in person or by phone. She does track that difference of who's just calling for information and who is coming in person. The majority of the people are in person. Their access to justice we talked about. In 2020, the National Center for State Courts did a report for self-represented litigants for the court system. Unfortunately, the justice system that we use that is maintained by the state does not track self-represented litigants really good. So the information on this slide is a little old, but that report did distinguish that in 2018, out of the 15,000 cases filed in the district court, 12,000 of those people identified as self-represented litigants, which is almost 80% of those people that have a filing. Majority of those are domestic relation cases. And then as you can see on that slide, 50% of those cases were self-represented. And those are the people that we see coming into the law library. The library, where it is under the district court's budget, it's not just limited to district court cases. So in 2024, the past fiscal year, there were 12,360 cases filed in the district court, but county court had 75,000 cases filed. And we see those people too. Out of that 75,000 cases, 32,000 were civil. And the majority of those civil cases that we see in the law library are for evictions because there isn't anywhere else for them to go. We currently have 5 public computers that are available for people to use. One computer has a Westlaw patron access on it. We have seen a lot more traffic in the law library due to those public computers. There has been a remodel in the clerk's office in the Hall of Justice, and there are no more public access computers there. So we're seeing more people come to the law library to look up their court case information. There are 6 computers in county court, but the difference between the county court computers and our computer is you cannot print from a county court computer. So if you come to the law library, you can print that documentation you need. There's a fee for it, but that's available. We have the child support calculator available on there, and then word processing is available to create documents if a form is not available. The printing for each page is 25 cents a page, which I think is universal throughout the county. I'm looking at the clerk's office because I think that was our fee there. I'll give kudos to my new staff person who's been there since June. She did rearrange the library a little bit and put the tables out in a different way because table space within the Hall of Justice to complete paperwork is no longer available outside the clerk's office like it was before. So we're seeing more people come into the law library to sit at those tables and fill out their paperwork. And then also we occasionally will have attorneys come in because there isn't a meeting space or workspace within the Hall of Justice. So they'll come in there to maybe prepare for court or meet with client. And then a lot of people will just come in the morning to use the copy machine. A lot of times it's somebody that's went to court. They don't realize, oh, I need this printed from my phone. I think the judge can attest to people saying, oh, it's on my phone. Well, you're not gonna hand your phone over in court, but you can come down to the library and print that documentation and then go back and file it. And that's a really busy time in the morning for the library. And no, previously I'd said we had 1,500 people that have come in during the third quarter. These numbers are a little different. I was working on a different project, so apologize that they don't coincide with the others, but this is from August 1st to September 16th. And this shows the packets that we have printed for people. So these numbers are a little skewed because this is just people that would have purchased something from us. That's why it doesn't line up with who's been in, but we printed over 1,400 pages of documentation for people. And those include that eviction paperwork that I had talked about and just exhibits, text messages that people might need for a protection order. And then our number one case packet is the divorce without children, and then divorce with children.
And
And
piggyback on that, don't you keep track, if someone purchases something from the law library, you keep track of their zip code where they
Correct.
live. And
Next
so
slide.
that's, yeah.
perfect. Oh. Oh, there we go. Perfect. So yeah, this is when they purchase it, if they will give us their zip code, we do take that and we track what area of the county we may be assisting. We had 742 people in Douglas County that purchased something from the law library, and the zip code is on the right-hand side of the screen. Our two highest zip code areas are the 68104 and 68111, which are kind of the North Omaha area. And then we had 150 other miscellaneous transaction from other Nebraska counties or states. So we do see people with zip codes from other states, not just Iowa. A lot of times we'll see, I know Washington State was on there, Maryland was on there, which are probably people from Sarpy County that live on the Pace.
Does Lincoln have?
No,
Okay,
and Sarpy County doesn't either. We get a
Okay.
lot of people that
There's
come to
one-
Sarpy, from Sarpy County, they'll say, well, Sarpy County sent me here.
very good.
I can get you that information if you'd like. I didn't.
No, this is perfect. Oh,
Perfect. So that was all I put together. Oh, my pictures are gone, but if you have any questions.
Yeah, Sherry, thank you. Any questions from commissioners? Commissioner Kavanaugh?
Thanks for this. And excuse me, I'm a little impaired when it comes to math, so I have to actually use my calculator here, but the numbers you give are informative, but the services are really an eye opener. If I hear you and read this right, the workspace in the law library, the public copy machines in the law library, the 5 public computers in the law library, and the packets for filing available in the law library are not available anywhere else on this campus. Is that right?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. So what we did, what the judge referred to in terms of these packets for filing divorce without children, divorce with children, paternity, modification of custody, and on and on and on. If unrepresented people aren't able to get these at our library, they're not able to get them here on this campus.
No, I think they'd have to go to the public library to do that.
Okay. And those are used in court every day. I mean, I think you pointed out the packets were at 1,406 pages today, and that's in a 3-month period. So do the math. And then also generates the stream of revenue, the 25% or 25-cent copy cost. And that's a significant, if your budget's 75,600 and your copying costs are almost $14,000, that's a significant independent revenue flow. So these services are only available because we have a law library, right?
Correct.
Okay. I think that's an important thing. As a lawyer and someone who's used the law library extensively in the past, I can tell you that the legal community, and I think the Omaha Bar Association, which is represented here today, would second this, is foursquare behind the continuation of the law library as an important aspect of our justice system, both criminal and civil. But I walk by it every day because it's in the connector building. And I think it also serves an important informational service for people wandering by. If you park here, you're probably parking in the garage across the street or downstairs. And to get to the Hall of Justice, you have to pass right by this. And I think a lot of people I've seen stop in there and say, where's courtroom 29? Or where do I go to small claims? And that's an important process that doesn't exist anywhere else on the campus. We used to have a kiosk in the rotunda. That's not there anymore. And there's not one on Farnham Street. So if we were doing just public information, or how do you get around this enormous campus? I think it serves an undocumented service there that we, would have to invent probably if we didn't have the good folks at the district court providing this. So I want to thank you for all of this. I think it's a valuable contribution and dollars well spent.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other commissioners?
No.
Alan, I think you had your hand up.
Are you able to track how much the library is used without a related purchase?
That's something that I think is, now that we have Lisa, we'll be able to do.
Yeah,
It just hasn't really been able to be done before now, but I think we have the right personnel in place who's definitely gonna be able to do that. So I think we can probably have some more accurate numbers for the number of people who just need help or ask for help, as opposed to somebody who came in and paid for services. But I can also tell you that so many people come in that the law library talks to, and they're like, you can go on your computer at home or print this off wherever. And so often they're just like, nope, I'll just take the physical copies. And again, we're serving a vast different population, and some people need help just even reading through the forms to figure out what information needs to put in which block. And that's something that Lisa provides, and which again it's so helpful to someone who's overwhelmed coming into a situation where they're like, I didn't graduate from high school, I need to get this divorce, or I want to see my child because the person I have this child with is not letting me see them, and very important emotional things that are going on. And so it provides a service beyond just here's the forms you need to fill out.
I'll make a quick comment, Lisa, that may not be a good one. Maybe toward the end of the year, early next year, talk to our chairperson. It's good to have a 5-7 minute presentation just on the last year and the numbers, and maybe show that, so that some people maybe watching a board meeting may not even be aware it exists. And that way it'll be out there in the public, and I think it's a good use of county board time to bring that forward and have it on the agenda. Just a brief 5-minute kind of thing. This was helpful to myself, and I think some others appreciate it too. So thank you.
And as an aside, the AOC, or the Administrative Office of the Courts, is put together a pilot program where they want to have a self-help desk in all the districts at some point. And so they chose Douglas County as being one of the pilot project areas. And actually, these meetings have been kind of frustrating because we're so far ahead of where they want the self-help desks to be. And so the meetings for us haven't been that great, because we're like, we already do that in our own library. So that's one of the things that tells us that we're doing the right thing for the community to be able to provide this.
Great. Thank you. Okay.
All right, I don't see any other questions. Anybody on Zoom? I don't believe
you.
so.
I think we're good.
Thank you for the time very much.
Yes. Is that?
Okay, we'll go back to the order. I think the
Agenda.
the agenda order.
The
The extension office is next.
Where
Carrie,
is it? Okay.
bring
Yeah,
your
it is.
army of people up here.
Careful of that cord there.
We're gonna go over here.
Over there.
It's my job to watch the clock. You guys don't worry about it. I'll tell you if we have to.
Yeah, I know.
Here,
Well-
stand
No, you can do whatever you want.
a little bit. I'll sit in a sec. I'm used to teaching and presenting.
Do you want me to?
You mind? All right, we ready? Yep. All right, well, thanks for letting us present today. My name's Carrie Miller. I'm unit leader and extension zone coordinator for Douglas and Sarpy County, Nebraska Extension. So our main office is at 80 and 15 West Center Road. And we deliver our services in cooperation partnership with Sarpy County. And we also have some office spaces there as well. Joining me today is Dave Varner, Associate Dean and Director for Nebraska Extension, and he is going to start the presentation.
There you go. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity to visit today. So again, Dave Varner, really my keen focus is county operations across the state. So if you're at NACO meetings, the annual conference or a district meeting, you probably see me hanging out, visiting with counties, just checking in on seeing how things are going across the state. Also served as a county-based extension educator for half of my career, about 10 years in Lancaster County, so a metro office similar to the Sarpy, and also in Dodge County for about the same amount of time. So just to make sure everyone's on the same base with cooperative extension. So cooperative extension was born out of the need to take the research and discovery from higher education to the people of the nation, right? So there's about 3,000 extension offices across this nation. We are connected to a network of land-grant universities, over 100 land-grant universities across this nation as well. So you can just imagine the breadth and depth of resources that your local extension office is connected to. What's really unique about extension is that not only do we have an office here, but we are embedded with the people that we serve. Right. And you always hear people talking about local control, local direction. Well, you actually appoint the extension board members who serve Douglas, Sarpy County. And so the unique thing about our faculty, our educators and our assistants is that they live and work, go to church, go to schools, sports events, et cetera, with the people that they serve every day. So they really understand what's going on at the local level. So Nebraska Extension for years has really been very tightly connected to the UNL, the Lincoln campus. You probably heard Dr. Gold, President Gold, a couple of weeks ago during the State of the University address say, you know, I consider all 5 University of Nebraska campuses as the land grant. And so what you're seeing already ramp up in a very quick way is Nebraska Extension is becoming the chief broker for all University of Nebraska resources. That's opening the doors to colleges, campuses, departments, faculty, anywhere from the Med Center to the College of Technical Agriculture out in the western part of the state. And so when you think about extension, think of us as a chief broker and access to any university resource, both in-state and really beyond as well. So, if you were to wrap all that up into what we really aspire to be, that is, we want to help the people in Douglas, Sarpy County co-create a better tomorrow. All right, so it's about working together for a better tomorrow. We are, I would suggest, one of the most trusted sources of information across this county, across the state, and across the nation. Right. So, go and jump to the next slide, if you will. Oh, I'm sorry, I was a slide ahead. We'll just back up there for a minute. So when you hear us called cooperative extension, a lot of people say, well, cooperative, that's because you're such a great partner. You're a great collaborator. You work well with people and individuals and private and public entities. That's actually not the why the cooperative word is in our title. Cooperative is we have a cooperative funding arrangement, right? So it's local, state, and federal sources. So it's kind of this 3-legged stool, which has really proven to be very resilient for many, many years. And it allows all voices from the national to the local level to be heard within the Nebraska Extension organization. The thing that unites us here today is the interlocal agreement that Douglas, Sarpy County signed. I think it was in 2021, probably the spring of 2021. You were actually the first counties to sign that interlocal agreement as we were renewing those. And I'm happy to say that since that time, over the last 4 years, the remaining 91 counties across the state have all renewed the interlocal agreement with Nebraska Extension. So as I was looking at your website, just kind of familiarizing myself with what was important to you as a board, I couldn't help but notice 4 things. So one was responsive government. And that is one of our mantras as well, is we want to be both responsive, but also proactive. right? So when I'm at NACO meetings, I just heard it last week out at North Platte. The commissioners at North Platte said, you know, whenever we have something we don't know how to handle, where to send people to, we send them to the extension office because we know you can handle it, right? And your people are so good with a relative age. So we have youngsters who are 6, 7 years old to people at the other end of the life spectrum that we work with each and every day. You talk about public engagement. Some of you might remember Larry Hudkins, a retired commissioner from Lancaster County, and every time he spoke to a group, he would say, Extension is the county board's best public relations department. You know, because we have people walking in here who are gonna be incarcerated, who are paying taxes, who are this or that, but when they come to Extension, they know they can help. Right, they're gonna have someone walk by their side to help them through whatever their issue is. So then you talk about collaborative problem solving. So Extension is about helping people help themselves. So taking the research and discovery through higher education, helping people better their lives, their businesses, their communities, and their counties. And then you mentioned the public-private partnership. So I would suggest the Nebraska Extension probably has more partners, both public and private, across the state than probably any other organization in the state. Hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of them, which we are very proud of. And if you want to jump to the next slide, so this is just a quick look at budget for Nebraska Extension. So this is looking at Douglas County, Douglas-Sarpy County, because you're a combined unit, right? And so you see what UNL's portion is, a little over half, and Douglas County is right around 20%. Sarpy County is probably about 10%, and that's based on valuation or population.
Tax valuation.
Tax valuation. And then grants, foundations, contracts, that's just a moving target, as you know, every day. That's changing, but over time it's growing more and more as well. So the bottom line here is this is a highly leveraged partnership.
Yeah.
It's a highly leveraged partnership for Douglas County. Can consider this. So there's how many paid employees in local office approximately?
Through the university or?
Right, just local here, just total.
Altogether,
Yeah.
all the different funding sources, 27.
27,
People.
okay. So, and you compare that to just master gardeners, for example. I think we have over 300.
340.
So, and that's not even counting 4-H volunteers. So there's a 10-to-1 ratio of volunteers to paid staff in your local extension office, 10 to 1, right? So I also was kind of looking at budget, looking at population in Douglas County. So I think I calculated this right. It's about the cost of extension in Douglas County per capita is $1. It's $1. So what can you buy for $1? Barely a soda pop, probably not a candy bar, very little. Go to the dollar store, I guess that's where you find out, right? So if you just look at the value of those master gardener volunteers, you know, look at the value of a volunteer, right? That group of volunteers alone matches your investment. So your investment's around $600,000 annually. So there's like $600,000 in volunteer value from master gardeners alone in this county, which is just amazing. By far the largest and most robust master gardener program across the entire state. So Carrie's going to talk about some more return on investment here in just a bit. But on a bigger scale, I back up to the NACO side of things and you look at statewide funding, or let's just say, yeah, statewide funding. So counties collectively across the state contribute about $10 million to the Nebraska Extension statewide budget annually. That's about 20% of our entire budget, right? So in Douglas County, you have 30% of the population of the state, right? Give or take. So your budget contribution to the statewide extension program is 5%. So you're contributing 5% to the statewide extension budget. You have 30% of the population. So I'm just going to leave that set where it's at and let Carrie take it away with some more specific examples of how programming, on top of everything I've already talked about, is having a huge impact in Douglas County.
All right, thank you, Dave.
Hey, when you talked about, you know, our 25%, or do you, I just thought because he might be down at gas, but it's okay, I'll wait.
Sorry, I didn't mean to
No, it's
snap at
fine.
you.
I'm used
No,
to
I want them to make sure we get through and we get
Yeah.
that stuff rolling. Sorry, PJ.
All right, I'll roll through this part. My role is to manage our local efforts, program efforts, staffing efforts, connection with partners, organizations, agencies, how to leverage funding and fees and grants and be relevant and unique and not duplicative. We're very aware of not doing that in the county. Some of our main focus areas here of what Extension has to offer are on the screen now. So our 4-H Youth Development Program, Early Childhood Program, which concentrates on training childcare providers is the biggest portion of that. And I'll talk about each of these programs more. Our horticulture, entomology, and ag, and urban ag is within that. Nutrition, wellness, and food safety. These are additional resources that Extension offers and are available to Douglas County citizens, businesses. Of course, we don't have as much livestock as out west or crops, but we have some. And there's resources. We have statewide and regional educators and specialists that provide resources and education and training that's available to the citizens here. Also ag profitability and rural prosperity in Nebraska, even though it says rural in it, I know they do work directly with some of the cottage food producers that we train, which is a food safety program I'll talk about more later. And our regional expert around that does help with those entrepreneurs if needed. Okay, our horticulture, entomology, urban ag department. I can't fit everything on the screen. Here's some metrics here. You also have a supplemental handout with return on investment. I can dig into numbers and those kind of things later as well. But kind of gives you an understanding of our work. And it's really ties into improving human health. A lot of these things, you may not think about it, improving the environment. We train the green industry, these staff do. So we do pesticide applicator training for those and lawn care services, exterminators. Very valuable that those things are done correctly. And of course, Dave mentioned our very large and robust and very active Master Gardener volunteer program. And Carla over there is one of our Master Gardeners and a board member, and Colin, who I forgot to introduce, our board president. We have 340 active volunteers who they receive a certain amount of training and they have to have a continued amount of output as a volunteer. The data up there is from 2024. We still have 340 active Master Gardeners. And we take on new ones every year. There's a little attrition there every year. And we could take on a lot more, but we just don't have the capacity to, but we try to get them the next year. They recorded over 20,000 volunteer hours. So that equates to over $600,000 in value. So Dave also talked about that a little bit. We have 18 teaching gardens. I think it's 10. I need to look for sure. 10 that are in Douglas County. They all have different specific things they work on or they're representing. And 3 of those are donation gardens. That top right corner is the Hope Garden, our biggest donation garden that's out on West Center Road. And that produce, 10,000 plus produce, is sent to a pantry in Southeast Omaha for distribution. And then, okay, we'll keep going. Our 4-H Youth Development Program provides experiential learning to youth. And it's not just the traditional clubs. Our 4-H youth program traditional clubs include Douglas and Sarpy County youth as well, but our biggest reach is through our in-school, after-school, and summer school programs around science, technology, engineering, ag, textile science. And the total here that was last year's numbers right there, reached or taught over 20,000 youth, and that does not include our traditional clubs programs in there as well. For example, we're in each of the 6th grades at OPS delivering our embryology program. Next, I think it's next semester, we'll be in all 8th grades at Millard Public School doing dissections, I think squid, that these schools don't have maybe, and we're meeting the state standards and helping the schools out in this aspect. Also the top right corner, and Commissioner Borgeson was at this a couple years ago. Our Build a Hut program. It was our 4th year for that Imagine Science program, and it revolves around different areas of engineering and teaching youth engineering. We have partners, corporate partners that come that are engineers and work with those students at that event. Our early childhood program provides accredited continuing education for childcare providers, which we know childcare is a big issue, always has been, even more so now. You want your children to have and grandchildren to have quality care and childcare, and that's what our staff does. They provide a lot of virtual training mainly now. That's one thing that came out of COVID is that works really well. A lunch and learn, a nap time learn, a weekend or an evening program. And so far this year, 1,500 providers have received training from one of our educators. And it's thousand total teaching contexts, because these providers are coming to a series of classes. So it might be 6 Mondays in a row, learning about challenging behaviors. And then the reach on that is almost 20,000 youth, and this is to date, are impacted, positively impacted, and then the multiplier effect. Their families are impacted, the economy is impacted, the employees, there's a higher retention for these employees. They don't always get paid a lot. So, but if you're valuing these employees and giving them continuing education and giving them the skills to be successfare, that helps. So, and we also do a Look Who's Hatching for our little ones, embryology program too, that child cares can pay a small fee for the supplies and be part of that. Our nutrition, food safety, and wellness team. I'm just going to highlight our food safety education certification because I know I'm getting a little tight on time. The numbers on here are so far this year for Douglas and Sarpy County, 650 food service managers, employees have been trained and certified. This is in partnership with the Douglas County Health Department. We're the teachers of this program. So think about where you eat. This is also, we do trainings for schools as well, school food service. So, and then our media reach is considerable. Sometimes kind of hard to measure, but reach over 1 million every year annually through our web resources. The bottom right is a bug's life. If you want to learn if you should keep or get rid of that bug, there are some that are beneficial, as well as our connections with local media, newspapers. Down below is Backyard Farmer. We have 3 of our staff on our HORT team and entomologists are on that panel. It's a very far-reaching program, and those local services are here for your constituents every day. Okay, next slide. And you can follow us. You can QR code that later and follow us, get our newsletter, all that good stuff. Thank you for your support. And if there's anything that we can do to provide your constituents more value, always open conversation to let us know what we can do.
Well, I know there's commissioners. Did you give her a hammer when she was working out there?
I don't know. She handed out the
I
award.
was just curious. Commissioner Kavanaugh had a question. I know that. And then Commissioner Moore.
Thanks for this. I ask everybody this, so you have 27 people, full-time equivalencies on staff, right? Here in Douglas County. What's your annual budget in dollars?
From, altogether.
Yeah, here
Um,
in Douglas County.
From Douglas County, it's 500,000, and part of that is used to manage the physical building. So 25% of that I use to manage and pay the heating, the air. There was a water flood to replace the carpet,
Right.
things like that.
And that's a Douglas County, that's a Douglas.
700?
Well, let me talk about that, yeah.
We have for 25, 26, and
So-
then I thought it was 600 for
Well, it's
24,
because
25.
Sarpy County pays in that 200 via drawdown. So in the budget, yes, so I depend, in the budget for Douglas County, it's gonna say 700 in odd numbers. But Sarpy County's portion, they pay in, it's based on tax valuations, that $200,000 to that, making it to Douglas County.
Okay,
I don't know how that works in the
Okay,
book.
I'll have to double check.
I'm not done yet here, but
Yeah.
Sorry, I
Thank
just want to
you.
make sure the
no,
numbers.
you're
are-
fine.
Yeah, no, let's,
You're in a Douglas County owned building.
yes.
Basically, right? So the 500,000 that Douglas County pays you is actually less than $1 per residence,
Mhm, yes.
550,000 residents, so you can.
It's 80 cents, give me 20.
Good
Give
thing.
you the benefit of the doubt.
Right. So I think that the overall budget statewide is what?
For Nebraska Extension,
Yeah,
all sources about 60 million, 55 to 60.
okay,
So that's federal, that's the grants contracts statewide,
Sure.
county, and then about half of it is state funding.
okay. Yeah, I just try to get those metrics in because it's a finance committee hearing and we
Sure.
want to know how much we pay and how many people, we're paying for.
Yeah.
But we're paying for a fraction of this with our
And
500,000.
just real, that staff I mentioned,
Yeah,
6.5 FTE are funded through those Douglas and Sarpy County funds. The remaining, the majority of the rest is through UNL funds, and there's some that are on federal grants or other grant
That's
funding.
good
So just to
number.
know, it's
So
not
the-
funding all those staff
the
people.
Douglas Sarpy County funded staff are 6.5?
6.5 FTE, which is actually 9
Out of
people.
27.
Yes.
Okay, that's good to know. So the overall budget, you know, you have our $500,000 contribution, Sarpy County has some contribution. What's the overall all-in budget of the extension office here?
That was.
Yeah, it's about 2.5 million.
Okay.
So extension, university contributes about 1.4.
Mhm.
You know, another 400,000 in the grants, contracts, foundation dollars we talked about, and then the 500 plus the 200 you talked about locally.
Right. And we look at this because we have all kinds of services. Some of them are 100% paid for by Douglas County taxpayers. This one, we pay 500,000 and somebody else pays $2 million. So the overwhelming majority of dollars are attracted to Douglas County by our contribution of 500,000, which is actually not a bad investment. I wish I could do that kind of investment, but that's kind of how we look
Exactly.
at it.
That's exactly right.
And then we have 6.5 people that we pay for, but there's 27 presumably tax-paying staff members. So 20 and a half are people that we don't pay for, who live here, buy here, pay taxes here, things like that. That's good to know. Just on a personal level, I came out, and you know this, and you know this, because I had a rose garden problem. And you fixed it for me. Thank you very much. I also go to farmer's market every Sunday in Exarban, and you have a great group of volunteers, master gardeners there. So you do good work. Thank you very much.
You made it.
Okay,
EJ,
I was gonna mention the 598,000, I think is what we put in the general fund, as I recall, Lori, that we put in, and I was curious. That building's probably a good $200,000 a year contribution.
Mhm.
I mean, if you were renting somewhere,
Absolutely.
is that some credit we receive as far as that? I'm wondering with the others. Because
So this is his cash budget is what we're reflecting here.
Yeah.
The point well taken.
it's not reflected in that number.
not in the five, I think we take 598, something like that, Lori, out of the general fund.
Right,
Our
and I-
property taxes for this payment.
that's true. And I did actually just confirm with one of my finance folks, Sherry Alvin, who's on here.
Yes, I know.
Sorry, I'm gonna call you out, Sherry. So she's so quick. I appreciate it. She did say that Sarpy does fund
There's the
us.
calculation.
Yep, see, I did not realize that. So it is, and you would net the Sarpy portion out then if you're trying to determine the net impact to the Douglas County taxpayers. So.
Commissioner Borgeson.
Thank you. First of all, I think you're the best kept secret in Douglas County in terms of programming. I've been to the luncheon for the Master Gardeners as well, and I've never seen a group so dedicated and so excited about being there and what they do. It's pretty phenomenal to watch. But I've also noticed, there's an app called the Next Door Neighbor. And there's a lot of babysitters on there that will say, I took the babysitting class, or I'm certified by the Douglas County Extension Office in babysitting training. And that makes a difference to some people. And then when you talk about the food, especially with what we're seeing getting cut at the federal level, I think our food safety program is going to become even more important for people who are going to be working in that industry. And so again, we look at the best bang for our buck. This is one that's just, there's no getting around. It's a really good bang for our buck. So keep up the good work.
Thanks, Commissioner. Any other questions in the room? Mr. Kagan?
Just for clarification, you have an interlocal agreement with Sarpy County's Extension Office, right?
Actually, it's what the Douglas Sarpy combined, since you are
So
one
it's
unit.
actually one office,
Yes, one unit,
one unit is centered in Omaha.
correct.
So there's no facility in
There-
Sarpy
there
County.
is. We have space at the, it used to be the Black Hills Energy building. It's now Sarpy County. It's on 72nd. We have office space in there. We have an area for extension in there.
So that's a satellite office, but all the
Yeah.
calls, I understand, come directly to your
The main.
office in Omaha.
Control hub.
Anything else?
Nope.
I was just gonna say, thanks for the information. I've been out there. I know most of the commissioners have. But again, this is valuable because, I can't assume, and I know Commissioner Fahey's fairly new. I can't assume he's been down there yet. He may have. Okay, good. To Commissioner Borgens's point, we don't want it to be a secret. I was gonna ask you real quick. My guess is the university is gonna take in the next legislative session, I would imagine, the university is gonna take a hit, because I think, if the legislature and the governor have their way, I know the counties will. So, maybe the university will as well. Are we putting things together or trying to strategize what that might look like? Because they're doing budget estimates right now, which is kind of scary, the last numbers I saw. The proactivity, where does it go there, Dave? Or
I think just one thing that's really important in that conversation is that Nebraska Extension is committed to our local presence. All right, so let's say about 80% of our educators are deployed off campus. So they're located in a county office or at one of our research and extension centers, right? And so as we're prioritizing positions, as there's attrition and turnover, we're prioritizing county-based roles because we know that's where we have the most impact. And it goes back to the first thing I talked about, embedded, understanding the local people we serve, being directly connected to county government. That's why I go to all the NACO meetings, right? You are the best partner, right? Without having a local presence, if you can look around the nation, extension offices that don't have a county presence are not nearly as effective as Nebraska Extension. So that's our priority, and a lot of moving parts there, of course.
Yeah. Okay, well, thanks, Dave. Any other questions from anyone in the room? Great job.
Thank you for the time.
I just want to say one thing.
Thank you.
I think everyone says we're the best kept secret. I think it's just because they don't know everything we do. They may not know parts of it, but anyway.
That's true. That's very true.
Good or
Good point.
maybe that's from 4-H, so thank you for plugging.
Thanks for the info.
Anyway, thank you.
I was a 4-H back in.
Were you?
Yes, I was.
Oh, I think I knew that.
Or Tom, you're not the least. You're just the last one. You're just the last one in the room.
Oh,
Thank you.
so much.
Once you get it set up.
I've been here.
So.
I know one of
I didn't realize, I thought you were putting 7 minutes. But Sherry is so good.
there it is.
I don't try to judge how you don't get this.
Fantastic.
Folks, here we go. Here we go. We're just about ready.
Okay, perfect.
Tom's time is valuable. Tom, introduce yourself and kick it off.
All right. Well, my name is Thomas Neal. I am the Executive Director for the Douglas County Historical Society. To my right, I think most of you already know Dave Summers, but he is a board member at the Historical Society as well. Our mission is to collect, preserve, exhibit, and care for the institution's collections pertaining to the history of Douglas County, including the General Crook House Museum. So to tell you a little bit about, there we go, the history, and I don't know where the music came from. Oh, okay. 1956, we were actually established. In 1957, we became an official 501c3 nonprofit. In 1976, we saw a big move to the Metropolitan Community College Fort Omaha campus, where we actually took residence in the General Crook House. At that time, we also started a restoration of the Crook House and turned it into the Crook House Museum. It is period specific. It's not necessarily the furniture that General Crook had, but it is specific back to the 1879 timeframe when it was built. In 1982, we established the Archives Center on campus. It's right next door, so that's why you see 11A and 11B. This is actually a duplex that was an officer's quarters. We actually occupy both sides, and we've removed a lot of the walls so that we can share space throughout that building. Prior to 1982, really the collections that we had or people had were stored as an unofficial archive throughout Omaha. It kind of came together in that 1982 timeframe where we established this archive center. In 1996, we became the official repository for artifacts and documents of Douglas County. To give you an example, we have all of the marriage records going back to 1856. So if anyone wants to look up a family member, just give me a call. We can do that for you. Both buildings are on the National Register of Historic Buildings. Some current activities for the Crook House Museum. We are open 7 days a week for tours. We are the only museum that I know of that is open 7 days a week for public access. And we get about 2,000 folks come through our doors annually. We do track the information as well, and we've seen folks from all 50 states as well as several countries each and every year. We do display various collections and exhibitions, really in an effort to teach local folks a little bit more about their community, as well as entice folks to come in and visit the area. And we also detail the history of General Crook and his role in the trial of Standing Bear, the chief of the Ponca tribe, and its national significance to the trial's outcome, and really setting the stage for civil rights for Indigenous folks. The Archive Center is actually open Monday through Friday for research requests. And as far as what the average month consists of, about 17% are naturalization record requests, another 20% are for photo requests, 20% genealogy requests, and the additional 43% are just general history questions and research that people may want to look up. We average about 4 site visits or site visitors that come down and do their own research. And we get about 30 online requests a month. So the biggest question is, what do we collect? Where do we get it and why? Frankly, we collect anything that is significant to Douglas County. It could be old business records. It could be photographs, something from the Trans-Mississippi Exposition in 1898. It could be journals. It could be newspapers. It could be, gosh, just about anything. Since I've been here in the last couple of weeks, we've received old Omaha Central yearbooks from the early 1900s that was donated. We received a dress that was worn by a mayor's wife to a significant event from the 1800s. We also received a collection of rare photos from a prominent business in the 1900s here in Douglas County. Some of the exhibits that we put together using these collection items, we have done several. They normally go from June until the next May. We've put these exhibits together in the basement of the Crook House. So as people tour the Crook House, they can go down and see an extra exhibit. We had an exhibit on the immigrants and the ethnicities of Omaha over the years. We've had the autobiography, which is really the history of automobiles here in Omaha. Sharing the Glory really covered all aspects of baseball in Omaha, which is not just the Royals or not just the College World Series. We had several different really meaningful things to share, including the Women's World Series that was here in 1948, which a lot of people don't realize. You Ought to Be in Pictures, that was covering all of the cinema aspects of Omaha and a lot of the folks that came from Omaha that people may or may not be aware of. We also have holiday themed exhibits. So starting November 1st through the 8th, our Women's Guild will actually come through and decorate the Crook House. Every room, including the restrooms, interestingly enough, will be in holiday decor. But we also add mini exhibits along with that to share additional information about local folks. Last year, we concentrated on spotlighting folks that had a significant impact. There was education, social aspects, transportation, and other types of people that we recognized. As far as outreach and events, we really want to share the history. So we try and do as much as we can to share the information, not just keep our archives private, but we do that through not only our collections, but we do have a blog that we put out. This is on our webpage that will have something of significance, an article that was written by an expert, but it really is not as big as an exhibit could be, but it's definitely relevant. As far as field trips, back in February, we had 45 students, 5th grade students come in. We gave them a tour of the Crook House, talked a little bit about Douglas County history, and then we took them to the Archives Center and we talked about doing research and the difference between primary and secondary sources. We also, when we had the exhibit on the ethnic groups over the years, we had several businesses in 2021 come through as part of their diversity training to show all of the different ethnicities that we have here in Douglas County. Our second Sunday lectures, so every month we bring in an expert to talk for an hour. It's open to the public. These have been phenomenal and very well attended. The last couple that we had one on Prospect Hill Cemetery, which is the oldest cemetery here in the county. Last month was on Andrew J. Poppleton, a prominent lawyer who really set the stage for why Omaha is here today. Next month is actually on Aksarben. Yeah, whether you want to talk about the horse races or the coronations, anything like that, it'll be a great event. I know Stu Pospisil's coming in to talk about the Brandeis family and the Brandeis business. And then finally, we wrap up in December talking about the history of the Durham Christmas tree and where that came from and where that started. And it actually ties back to the 1800s. We also have an annual fashion show. This is kind of a fundraiser for us. We take clothing out of our collections, and we also have help with a private collector, and we put on this fashion show. But we also recognize an Omaha female that has significantly contributed to historical preservation or causes. Gives a nice little picture of that. Recent changes to the organization, things have really been hopping. The organization did hire a permanent executive director in August. Hi, how are you? So yes, I am in my 9th week in the organization. One of the things that we did as well was really round out the team to focus on the future of the organization. So currently we have an archives and research consultant. We've got a collections specialist, a community outreach specialist, and a finance specialist. So really we've got 3 full-time folks, 2 part-time folks that are dedicated to the organization's mission. We also have volunteer positions. We have an antique class teacher. She teaches 3 times a week. You may be familiar with Pat Pixley. She was a former executive director, been with the organization for 47 years. I think she lives at the Crook House, but I'm not sure. But she is amazing. And she comes in at 80+ years old, teaches 3 classes a week and orchestrates a lot of different things for us. We also have a weekend greeter as well, so that we can have folks come in Saturdays and Sundays. The next big thing is we, through Metropolitan Community College Foundation and through the National Parks, we received a Saving Our Treasures grant, and it's a matching grant. So we will receive a little over $1 million, really in an effort to restore and renovate the Archive Center. If you've ever been to the Archive Center, you know that this really needs to be done. Matter of fact, I met with the Metro College folks today. It's a very aggressive schedule, but we need to empty out that building, and over the next 16 months, we're going to go top to bottom, inside to out. We'll still maintain the historical significance, but it will be much, much better suited for the archiving of these important documents. We also renewed our partnership with Metropolitan Community College and the foundation. We signed a 5-year agreement. They're going to help us maintain our buildings and so forth. We are also going to provide services to their students, not only the horticulture students, but now they've got a library sciences program where we're going to have interns come over and help us in the Archive Center, so that they can learn a little bit more about what it is to be an archival librarian. The future? Well, we're establishing a school programming for elementary and middle school students. I used to work at the Big Garden, and we would go out and teach kids how to grow their own food. Well, we want to go into elementary and middle schools, teach them about the history of Douglas County and some of the prominent figures. Obviously, we're continuing to digitize our paper records. Again, if you've been to the archive, it is very paper intensive. We've got 5 volunteers right now. They're literally scanning all of the time. By scanning those records, that leads us to more online access and research capabilities for residents for pertinent information so that they can do their own research. And we want to create awareness for our events, exhibits, and lecture series. You know, we mentioned the best kept secret. I'd like to think it's us. If you want to say it's the extension, that's fine, we'll share it. But, sorry, just picking on you a little bit. I will say, we did talk in the hall before we got here. We do have an heirloom garden off the courthouse, and we've talked about having master gardeners come out and help us maintain that. So a great 5-minute meeting in the hallway through this process. But we, again, are a small team. We're a fierce team. We're going to move the future of Douglas County Historical Society forward and really spread the word about what we're doing. And finally, we just want to be the best stewards of the archives that we can possibly be. We know that we've been needing to revamp the archive building for about 15 years. We're finally going to make that happen, which I'm very excited about. Again, it's moving fast and furious, but once that gets done, we will know that these collections are preserved for a long, long time. So again, I'd like to say thank you very much for the support that you've shown us over the years. And I hope that you see that we are moving forward and are being good stewards of the money that we've been provided.
Thomas, thank you. I think Commissioner Kavanaugh was first and then Commissioner Borgeson.
Thank you for this. I'm gonna ask you the same question I asked everybody, which is, what's your overall budget and what's the Douglas County contribution to that budget?
The overall budget right now it's been fluctuating because of the staffing, but I anticipate for 2026 about $450,000. Hopefully we'll come in a little bit less than that. Of that, Douglas County, we get about $108,000 from that currently.
Okay. 108?
Yes.
Okay. And your staff, I think you touched on this, but the number of FTEs on staff?
3 full-time, 2 part-time, and then several volunteers.
Okay. I know that you do great work because I've done projects through there. One of them was the sesquicentennial of the city of Omaha. And we were sitting around a table in the basement of the Crook House. The city of Omaha is here because of the Treaty of 1854 between the Omaha Nation and the United States government. So the first question is, do we have a copy of the treaty that, you know, allowed this to happen? And a woman from the Historical Society sitting across the table opened her purse and she said, "This treaty?" It was very impressive use of your resources. But we've done everything from that to most recently the 100th anniversary of the courthouse riot. That was a big thing, aided by the archives of the Historical Society and all these programs that you're talking about. Very exciting with your collaboration with Metro, because when you're sitting in buildings, they're 100 some years old, aren't they?
Oh, 150. 1879 was
Okay.
when they were built.
Maintenance and particularly climate controlled maintenance is key to maintaining archives. And then this $1 million grant, what's the source of that again?
Half of it is coming from Saving Our Treasures, which is through the National Park Service. And then it's a matching grant that the Metropolitan Community College Foundation has found matching dollars for us.
That's huge. You'll be able to do a lot with that. I know that we have participated recently through the Visitors Improvement Grant Program in helping stabilize the roof of one of those buildings. And you gotta have a sound roof if you're stocking a bunch of old paper records. And so we're happy to do that and going forward, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
And Dave and I are currently working on a historical project recognizing the 100th anniversary of the 150th
Yeah.
of the Omaha Bar Association. And I don't want this opportunity to go by without soliciting the support of my colleagues here for a resolution that will appear before the county board soon, marking the 150th anniversary of the Omaha Bar Association.
Promoting attorneys? Yeah, right. Sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to point out that one of those attorneys was the attorney that we were talking about here who represented Standing Bear, just so you know. The man who established that Native Americans are in fact human beings.
We hate attorneys until we need them. I get it.
Thank you. Thanks for what you do.
Sorry, I didn't interrupt you.
No, you're
Done?
fine, yeah.
All right. Commissioner Borgeson,
No, I wanted to know how many part-time. I didn't catch that, but thank you.
Commissioner Morgan is next.
30 seconds. Think about when you're doing some of these events, to come before the board to advise us of, hey, we're doing this kind of thing. I've been out there and I forget what it was. It's been so many years ago as a commissioner, but that would be a good thing, just to be on the agenda, just to do it briefly, or even if you Googled and let our chairperson know it next year that, hey, we're gonna have this kind of a show next Saturday. And people watching would see it, and maybe the media would pick it up.
I love that idea.
Yeah,
I will
that'd be
gladly add
great.
you all to our newsletter list. I will send anyone an email.
We
just to get
don't-
Them to come down.
We don't do as good. I know they had an auto show at the Douglas County Health Center a few weeks ago. But you don't always see it, and you wanna be sure we're making people aware of those kinds of things going on.
Absolutely. Well, and that's why our community outreach specialist was hired, really to help spread the word as to what we're doing through these educational opportunities, because they're amazing.
And maybe I'd volunteer, Commissioner Borgeson, if you're doing something with that dress from the mayor's some years ago. we could have you out. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other questions from anyone in the room? Anyone on Zoom?
No, thank you.
Very good. I
Well, I
think,
did have one.
Oh,
Do you
sorry, go.
remember I just thought of it, because somebody brought up about the visitors. There was a, kind of an understanding or partnership that was formed many years ago, with that. Do you remember how far back it was? Mhm. We were given it started out like $40,000 and then it increased as time went on. I can't remember when and how far back it went.
Did it go away?
No, we've been doing it.
Still
for-
going.
Yeah,
Good.
I've been here 32, so it's just kind of almost. You've been here 30.
31 and it's been, it was probably. Well, that's what I can't remember when, but it's been a long time. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it has been. This is Sherry. It has been, Marianne.
A long time.
Definitely. we do
Yeah,
a
it's
lot
been a long time.
Yeah.
through the BIF, definitely. And it's been amazing.
And one thing I'll just add, the Standing Bear story is hitting a anniversary mark here. And also, there's a movie in production, which, for anybody who's done The Killers of the Flower Moon, that created a huge influx of people to the reservation for that story. So I think there might be a big interest in the Standing Bear story nationally, coming down pretty quickly here. Which is exciting.
We did get funding for a plaque to be placed on a building downtown where the trial actually took place, because the anniversary is 2029, which will be 150 years.
Was that a trial with lawyers?
It was. Andrew J. Poppleton and Webster was
So
the
what
other.
had happened, but for a newspaper man,
That's true.
Well, okay.
telling them to talk to an attorney.
Well,
there you go. I have a J degree, so you guys won't even exist without us. Hey, thanks for the time. I don't think there are any other questions and we're late, but thank you all for coming down.
Thanks.
I think we're
Bye.
adjourned.
thank you.
Yeah, we